Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio here with you this morning. We will talk the Groundhog Day topic of the spring, some college baseball. Ole Miss falling to SEMO, Southeast Missouri, 13-3 last night at Swayze Field, falling to 21-15 overall, and suffering quite the listless loss. We'll get into a little bit with Mississippi State in town this weekend, and then a fourth game against the Bulldogs coming up in Pearl on Tuesday. So 4 in a row with the defending national champion Mississippi State, who has a bad RPI and has not been very good this year either. So we'll talk about that. Some SEC East win totals. We did the West last week. We told you we'd get to the East, so we'll do that today. And then some mock drafts with some interesting things as well. So that and more coming up on the on the show. A show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drinks. Also, was trying to give you $10. You can do that by just downloading the Exxon mobile app. Take a picture of the QR code right there at the pump, and they will take care of you. So blue sky locations all up and down I-55 and throughout North Mississippi. And coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for my friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. Shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, but I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Yeah, you get great service, great products. I'm a little flighty right now. Forgive me. Been up since 3.
Mm-hmm.
Did a mailbag, 2 stories. Very productive.
You're mentally acute.
I'm mentally. I'm more acute than I want to be. I've done laundry. I mean, I've been like incredibly efficient.
Okay.
Swept, everything. I mean, I just.
When did you sweep?
This morning. Energizer
okay.
Bunny, man.
All right.
Yeah. Call that number. Tell them what you want. You're going to get a great vehicle, great service. Corey wants to be your car guy, wants to be your truck guy. I'll prove that to you when you make the call, 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place if you're coming up this weekend. There's going to be a lot of people here. If you can get into Rafters, grab a burger, a po' boy, appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, and more. Rafters on the Square in Oxford and Rafters in New Albany.
So I mentioned QR codes every day. What do you think of UCF putting them on their jerseys for the spring game? Was that a complete and utter gimmick that is incredibly dumb, or does that actually translate to follower increases for NIL purposes?
It's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. You can put your custom QR codes on your jerseys.
I mean,
how often have you hit a QR code?
A few times.
A few times?
Yeah. I don't have. Is it bad that I don't have like any kind of a real take?
No, not really. I just thought about it.
I mean, why not?
Well, there's no harm.
Right.
Players want it. Feel free. Now, is it actually putting in intrinsic value? No. But sure. Whatever.
Right.
I mean, we do a lot of stuff because the players are recruits just think it's cool. That's a reason enough for a lot of things.
And if it helps you land one player or it gives one player some NIL money that he wasn't already getting, it's probably worth doing.
Sure.
I mean,
didn't hurt anything.
That kind of thing doesn't. I'm not, as much as I love uniforms, I'm not necessarily a traditionalist as it pertains to it, especially at a place like UCF, where, I mean, you don't have a tradition. So do whatever the hell you want to do. And if that works, well, then go for it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, you can scrap it. Nobody ever will remember. You're UCF, you're a guinea pig.
Yeah, sure.
Own that.
Be a guinea pig.
Yeah, why not?
Rub Grizz, I did have a blast at the park last night. I was very tired. I had some coffee, had some water. I was trying to. I had decaf. I was not going to try to stay up past when I could go to bed. I really, really like Taiwan Malone a lot. He's been very, very nice every time we've spoken to him. Seems like a good kid who's really enjoying his ability to play baseball and be on the roster. him hitting that home run last night was not exactly what I was in the mood for, because the game could have ended about 20 minutes before it did, and look, Ole Miss was not coming back, so what damn difference does it make at that point?
Your stuff was written.
Yeah, I tell you, there's kind of I don't know if there's a lot here, because, it's all a microcosm of the larger thing, but just going through the night a little bit, SEMO scores 3 in the second, and immediately you thought, Ole Miss isn't punching back. Whatever. Even when it went to 5-0, I went, okay, we're just going to be here all night, but Ole Miss is going to score. This is going to be one of those 14-12 midweek games where somebody wins, somebody loses, and whatever, and it's a 5-hour and 18-minute game. But you get to the third and the fourth and the fifth, and it went, Southeast Missouri scored in 5 straight innings. And at no point did Ole Miss hit a ball off the wall and then kind of yell at the teammates or do anything. It was... And I wrote about this a little bit. You can read it at rebelgrove.com. It was the most lethargic I've seen an Ole Miss team in a really long time, where they got punched in the mouth by an Ohio Valley Conference team and never even tried to fight back. It was stark, and I'm always careful about quitting or giving up or anything along those lines, because when you get dominated in baseball, that's what it looks like. And whether you're locked in as hell or not, that is what it looks like.
Yeah, you could be the 110-win Brewers. Yeah.
But here's the deal, and a couple of different things.
God forbid, by the way.
And I don't know, I'm only watching through binoculars. The 5th inning, they do the love is gone thing, and the players do their little routine and all that stuff.
I thought it was the most interesting thing you wrote.
And nobody did anything. It was, if somebody was doing it, it was one person. There was nothing along the rail like usual at this point. And then, halfway through the song, I look down, I look back up a second later, and it's like the whole front row is doing it. And I'm like, okay, somebody had to say something, because that's weird. They didn't just suddenly start.
And you'd love to know who said it.
It's like, hey, no, go. Let's. But that's manufactured enthusiasm.
Yes.
That's choreographed. That's not just throwing the bats out or yelling at somebody or even having, you're not even necessarily seeing, and I don't remember, this isn't even really a criticism, because I don't know that it would matter. But Mike's not gathering the offense up between innings and, doing some of the huddles you would see over the course of the past years and different things, going, hey, lock in, here's what we're doing, calm down. There was never that moment.
Don't you think Mike knows?
Well, I'm kind of getting there.
Okay.
So, game ends, again, it was 13-3. It was never close. Ole Miss was abysmal in all 3 phases, if we're honest. They couldn't pitch. They walked 9 last night. They hit 2 or 3. They were 1 for 10 runners in scoring position. It was an odd line, because they got beat by 10 runs despite only getting out hit 12-10. There's a line score for you. And they committed 3 errors. Reagan Burford had 2 more at third base. He came in fielding 869 and had 2 more errors. Or I guess second base last night. But
so he couldn't field third, so you moved him to second?
Well, Chatinier couldn't throw the ball to first.
Hurt?
So, no, he's just on double. I don't know. Okay. But they've got issues. Okay, that's bottom line. They got some issues. Bull Durham, they're dealing with some stuff right now. So
candlesticks are not going to fix this, by the way.
And I was interested in the post game huddle, because we can't hear what Mike's saying, but we can tell body language. We can hear enough, and we kind of know whether it's short or long or whatever. And I think in some ways, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. You typically don't yell at bad teams, because what's it solving? At the end of the day, they're not going to suddenly become the 27 Yankees because you yell at them.
No.
So he's been sort of just almost encouraging over the course of the last few weeks. Come on, you're better than this. Kind of that sort of deal. Not last night. He gave them a 2009 mic last night where it was on them hard for 7 or 8 minutes. Got all over them last night. Again, I couldn't hear it all, but I could hear enough.
You heard a few words?
I heard some words. I had a counter going in my head there at one point. And then they get done.
F words, C words. What words were popped out most?
Some F.
Some F.
Yeah, I didn't notice the other one.
No C word with 3 syllables?
No.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. That's typically not a go-to.
No.
That's an umpire go-to if you're trying to leave. That's not a player. That's not to your team.
Sometimes you accuse your kids of that, just to piss them off.
Okay. I think you're past that point, though. That was several weeks ago.
I think it's over.
So then they get done, and I want to use some nuance here, people, for a second. I know it's complicated. They get done, and they have kind of a 2-minute team-only meeting. And Ben Van Cleve leads it.
Okay.
And again, credit to Ben, because nobody else is saying shit. So Credit to you. This is not a criticism at Van Cleve or necessarily anybody else.
Okay.
But it shows you the makeup of the team. We've talked for a while about this team not having, frankly, some dirtbags. They all kind of have the same personality.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't kind of seem to have the guy that just kind of gets in their tail a little bit and gets them going and whatnot that you've seen from past years. There's not the Chris Coughlin or the Justin Brashear or, Lance or whomever. Austin Anderson. And they don't necessarily have that. And when you've got a guy leading the team meeting who doesn't play every day.
Yeah.
And again, credit to him because nobody else was saying anything. And it's not Tim's fault. His personality is what it is. It's not Justin Bench's fault. Their personality is what it is.
Of course not.
It's just indicative of the makeup of the team that Ben was the guy comfortable in doing that. And I think it's a sign that it's not that they're not trying.
But you can't force someone to be a leader, and someone can't force themselves to be a leader.
No.
I mean, it just doesn't work like that. Leadership, frankly, is kind of organic.
Mm-hmm.
Chemistry is organic in a team. And you can have a team where a bunch of guys like each other and there's no chemistry. And I've seen teams where a bunch of guys hate each other and there's chemistry. I mean, I've covered teams where especially in basketball, where I was convinced the team did not like one another.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pretty good.
Like All SEC 26 says, this speaks to recruiting, what kind of players you're getting. And that is true. You put a roster together through recruiting. It's also a flaw, though, in the system because you're committing a bunch of dudes who's sophomores in high school. You don't know full personalities
or earlier
as
than
sophomores
that.
in high school.
Or earlier than that.
It's a crapshoot.
You're recruiting 8th graders and 9th graders, and you're committing 10th graders.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever been around a 16-year-old boy, he's not the same at 19.
Yeah. Chet, you're actually completely off here. He says, I think Bianco's a bully and his players naturally become beat down by the virtue of being around him. No. If anything, Mike, my opinion is, I got thinking about this last night. I was talking to Suss about it for a minute. I think he might have gone too far the other way. Mike talked about it on this podcast that fall. We did the big deep dive on him as a person. He's changed for this generation, and there is some of that required.
Sure.
But if anything, I think he's gotten almost kind of soft. He's not as on them as he would have been 10 years ago. I mean, I was texting a former player throughout the game last night, and he was almost kind of laughing, going, good God, what we would have gotten right now in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, just, oh, shit. And that doesn't happen. I mean, it's all positive reinforcement for the most part. I mean, he gets on them, but it's nowhere near what it would have been 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. And look, you cover it. I don't. You're there every night. I'm not. I have a much more simpler theory than – and we can both be right, by the way. Two things can be true at once. I think they've made recruiting mistakes. I think they've made evaluation mistakes, and I think they've come back to bite them now.
And development mistakes.
Yes.
It's impossible to completely know where recruiting and development start and stop.
Well, it's all part of the same deal. You evaluate, and when you're recruiting kids that are as young as they're recruiting, a lot of your evaluation is based on what you perceive to be ability to develop. And somewhere along the road, they've been derailed more often than not. And now they just don't have it. I mean, the reason, I suppose, and I've never met Reagan Burford. I'm sure he's a wonderful person, and I'm sure he has a great family. But when you're fielding at that level, you can't be on the infield every night. And if you are on the infield every night, it's because they must believe that there's nobody else who can take that spot. And if that's the case, then it goes back to my point, I'm almost hesitant to do this because I'm on record here. I put it in my mailbag today. I think it's over. I think they're making a change at the end of the year, barring what would now be, in my opinion, a miracle. Miracles happen, but I'm not banking on them. When you have a narrow path, and they do, and you make mistakes, you fall off that path pretty fast. And once you're off of it, it's kind of hard to get back on it in that season. No matter how many people yell and scream, no matter how many guys have, no matter how many meetings you have, no matter how many come to Jesus deals you have, none of that matters, man. I mean, it's baseball.
This is an off-season issue that caused this, not an in-season issue that caused this.
It's
micromanaging the actual management of the game is not how they got here.
No, I mean, You can pick apart management, and I thought Saturday's game against South Carolina was certainly worthy of being picked apart. But it's not why they lost.
They have 2 classes where guys are not contributing to the level they need to be.
Yes.
They have a pitching staff that sophomores and juniors, your 2 money classes when you're putting a roster together, the guys who are draft eligible and the guys who are getting ready to be draft eligible.
Yep.
Josh Mallets, Jackson Kimbrell, Jack Doherty, Derek Diamond, Drew McDaniel, Mitch Morrell, Wes Burton. That's it.
That's it. And there's your story.
They're not getting what they need out of those guys.
There's your story. And that's your story. That's it. The other stuff is minutia. It's like I watch, and I appreciate the message board. I'm glad people are on there. I'm glad that it's the community that I think we want it to be. But you're just picking it apart. You're just beating what I think is a fairly dead horse.
Their conference ERA as a team is 6.58.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. That's what they are. And so if you were to go compare that to the teams ahead of them in the league, those teams probably have better win-loss records.
They also have a pitching depth issue this weekend, even in addition to what they have. John Gaddis had an appendectomy over the last 48 hours or so. He got out of the hospital yesterday morning. Somebody in the thread can tell me, I'm not a doctor, but I have a hard time believing he's available this weekend.
I wouldn't think.
Again, I have no idea, but
I mean,
I
wouldn't think that after that surgery, you're
Jack Washburn is still dealing with his hamstring injury that he suffered against South Carolina on Saturday, and I would assume he is back. Although I don't know the details. Jack Doherty had a death in the family, so he was not available last night. So Ole Miss was already down those 3 last night, and I would assume that 2 of those carry into the weekend. Ole Miss going with DeLucia, Hunter Elliott, and Derek Diamond this weekend for its starters against Mississippi State. It's fine. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
I got no issue with that.
That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, it's my only criticism of that is if Hunter Elliott's one of your best 3 guys, why did he not pitch last weekend? You can't play 27 innings and him not play.
It's more than fair.
That would be my one take from that in a critical tone. But no, look, last night, has he lost them? I don't know. Are they in their own Cheerios? Probably. I don't know. Talking about a team that...
Sure, Saturday sucked. Probably a long flight back.
Yeah, but typically when you have a Saturday that sucks and you get a couple days, you're energetic on Tuesday. You need to get the taste out of your mouth.
Yeah.
It wasn't even getting beat. It was how they got beat.
I was listening to Sam Presti. I'm going somewhere with this. I promise this isn't about the Thunder. But he made a great point. He was talking about culture and communication with young people. And let's face it, he has a roster full of guys that are college age, right? You're talking about young people who spend an incredible amount of time in their phones. You can talk all you want. These guys see social media. They see message boards. They see screenshots. They see the things people say. They see Twitter. They see Instagram. They see all that stuff. They know the score. You can do that song and dance about, it's just us in this room and there's no one else. It's bullshit. Everybody's outside that room.
Nut would say keep it in between the walls.
Yeah, whatever. It's you got to keep it in this room. That's all well and good. These guys live on their phones. And so they see it all. They know the deal. They know where they are right now. They know what their record is in the league. They know what people are saying. They know the coach that recruited them is losing his job at the end of this season, in large part because of what's happened this season. They know that. At some point, you look in the mirror. And that's what we are. I don't look, I think we're a week to max 12 days or so from probably shifting a conversation. I mean, I think if they don't win 4 of the next 7 SEC games, I don't know if there's another midweek game. You'll have to forgive me. If they don't win 4 of the next 7 SEC games.
He's counting the Governor's Cup for anybody.
Yeah, well, because
it does count.
Because the committee counts it.
Yeah.
So you've got the Governor's Cup, you've got the 3 games in the Governor's Cup, then the 3 games in Fayetteville. I think if you come out of that anything 3-4 or worse, I think it's time to have the conversation where you say, hey, look, there's one way to take the pressure off this. There's one way.
That's not going to happen.
and it probably won't happen. And then you just...
And it really doesn't even matter if it does or doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't matter.
It's why I wrote this in the mailbag today. He's going to get his money, and he should get his money. It's in the contract. The whole he should take less money and walk away. Shut up. That's so stupid. He's got a family.
And Mike's buyout is like, it's 1.2 a year. He'll have 3 years left. So 3.6. It's like, I don't know, 60, 70% of that. So whatever that number is.
$2.5 million.
Yeah, probably a little less, but sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
As I like to say, I went to ULM. We didn't do hard math.
Yeah, somewhere in there is his buyout.
Yeah, so 2 point whatever. He's going to get it. The whole fire him now is ridiculous. No, you don't do that to someone who's done for a program what he's done in 22 years, what he's done for a community in 22 years, what he's never done anything to humiliate the place at all in 22 years. You don't do that. In an ideal world, you get a chance to ceremoniously honor it, but if you don't get that, you just let it end. But the kids know the deal, Chase. And barring some stunning hot streak that captivates them and catapults them into May with some sort of a new hope, they know the deal.
Sure. All right, we'll continue in a second. First about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, SoCal County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Dead Soxy. There's an event at Dead Soxy. It's up at rebelgrove.com. I need to pull that up, as a matter of fact. That would be something for me to do. Can you pull that up on rebelgrove.com?
What am I pulling up?
It's a pinned message at the top of rebelgrove.com about the event they're having on the square on Friday. It's 1 to 5.
Sure.
Jason Simmons will be there, the founder of Dead Soxy. You can talk to him, check out their product line, and get yourself some of the best socks you'll ever put on your feet. Also, if you go to the website, deadsoxy.com, promo code RebelGrove.
Yeah, 1 to 5 on Friday.
1 to 5 on Friday on the square, right?
That's correct.
In front of Nelson's?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, there you go. So
yep.
Check them out to go see them. And if you're not coming to Oxford, you can still go to deadsoxy.com, promo code RebelGrove, get 25% off. Game Changer patches, the only 2-patch system available in the market today to stop hangovers before they start. Warm-up patch used before, while you drink. Afterwards, you can get the overtime patch while you sleep. All natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. ACS is owned and operated by my buddy Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's established in 2013. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. Full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff, and a UL 508A panel shop. Go to acsllcms.com for more or call 662-601-4381. Lammon's Fine Jewelry is at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. Serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century. Engagement rings, wedding rings, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. If you want it, they've got it. LammonsFineJewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. At a minimum, Chase and Richard Cross will visit with one another on Hand Raised Guys sometime tomorrow. That is brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. We're having another one of those weird weather days where it's kind of chilly outside. It's going to warm up. The hot weather is on its way. You want to make sure that your air conditioner is ready to handle it. Best way to do that is get in touch with Comer, get in touch with Southern, and get them to come check it out. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern, 662-429-4429. And don't forget, the College Corner is your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. If you're coming up this weekend, stop at the one in Ridgeland or the one in Flowood. If you're not in Jackson, go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day with the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. Deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they're also available in Holly Springs with Tyson Drugs. They're on the square in Holly Springs. Let them be your community pharmacy of choice. You can change from the big box stores and get more local service. Again, here in Oxford, that's on South Lamar. That's 662-236-2222. Yeah, look, kind of putting a bow on it. It's very clear where it's headed, barring some crazy turnaround that just doesn't really seem roster capable at the moment.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think it's 2 weeks. I think it's through the state series, through the Arkansas series, because that's the thing. There's plenty of time. Like the people going, now. Well, they're not out yet.
No.
Now, is it overwhelmingly likely? Yes. Just take a breath, and you all know where it's headed.
Yeah.
But
that's my point.
They have to get there first.
Again, I'm not criticizing. It just feels like
they sweep state, and you go, well, they're 8-10. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's 500 the rest of the way, and you're 14-16, and they're in the tournament.
Right.
Like, again, likely? No, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, not like State's world beaters.
No. Flip side is you take 2 out of 4 against State. And
your RPI fell to 58 last night.
Yeah. If you take 2 out of 4 against State and 1 out of 3 in Fayetteville.
That's not enough.
That's not enough. And at that point, you can sit down and say, hey, this is.
State's RPI is 81.
Yeah. This isn't going to. And the truth is, what I just described, splitting the 4 with State and winning 1 at Arkansas feels, frankly, right now, Chase, kind of best case-ish. If I'm honest. I've watched State. I've watched Arkansas. I mean, if you told me, hey, Ole Miss is going to get 5 of these next 7 games, I look at you and go, how? With what? I mean, if you tell me that, I'm telling you that some guys stepped up with their games of the year in succession. And that happens. But it would take something like that. If Ole Miss plays the way Ole Miss has played for the last 15 games, and State plays for the way it's played for the last 15 games, and Arkansas plays for the way it's played the last 15 games, 4-3 feels just very best case, and 3-4 feels more likely. And if you told me it was one extreme or the other, I know where I'd bet.
Sure.
If you told me it was 2-5 or 5-2, I'd go 2-5. I mean, I've watched the teams.
The just a quick aside, I know people had talked about this last week. The Manning Center has not been affected by any construction issues. It's still completely on pace for completion. July of 23 is the date of completion for the Manning Center. That's been moving along normally.
Now, does that include the new athletic department offices and stuff?
The way my interpretation is that nothing is off schedule and everything is on complete schedule as it is, including softball, including tennis. Baseball doesn't really have a date. It's just kind of at the end, and they're going to sort of throw that in somewhere because obviously baseball doesn't need a ton of a facelift right now. The only thing that could be affected by any of this is Vaught Hemingway, and I know people, freak out, but you've got some bond rates. You've got a lot of stuff going over the next 18 to 24 months, just like the mortgage housing market is right now.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out the issues there, and that would be the one thing potentially affected. I did not say will be affected. See where things are at that point. They are going to progress to a point where they have to make a decision, and there will be a day come at that point where you have to go, okay, can we 100% complete this without issue, or do we have to just stop? Because the problem you can't get is you can't start the stadium and then quit. You have to know 100% sure you're done. So if something got paused, it would be the stadium. They have to go, okay, you just got to wait. Because, I mean, you're talking about, if some of these bond estimates are true, 40 to 70 million extra in interest over the course of this project.
Oh, that's it?
This project? Yeah, I mean,
just
so if somebody can cut a check, great, they'll get on with it. But otherwise,
I mean, I can hear Lane Kiffin right now. Wait a minute, 70 million for a stadium?
Yeah.
Hey,
that's just the interest.
Let me get the dudes.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's it. That's kind of where things are at. I know there was some confusion about that last week, but I expect tennis, softball, those things to continue as scheduled, and then the Manning Center will be completed by July of 2023. So there's that for those who are interested. Cole says, would it help getting Dan McDonald, who finished the SEC season 7-23? Would it soften the blow of firing his friend when his friend's absolute catastrophe season? At this point, it's not really about optics. It's about whether or not Dan has a higher loyalty for Mike or an ability or a want to reset at a place where, frankly, the athletic department of the university is in shambles at the moment. Louisville is about as much of a train wreck from an institution as you can be, and it's whether or not a reset at a place where he would be beloved is palatable to him. The industry guess is that he would take the job. I mean, look, I'm not guaranteeing it, but that is the guess. So. What's noon on Sunday?
The Arkansas Ole Miss game got moved to noon, and Jackson.
It got moved to like ESPN, right?
Yeah, Jackson said it's going to be a great way to be humiliated, and I was just saying that no one's watching that at noon on Sunday unless you're cheering.
It is a little interesting. Teams. It got the main channel. They had a window open, I guess.
Well, ABC probably has the NBA noon game.
So you just throw something on.
Yeah.
And frankly, you throw on something a little niche because maybe you grab people who aren't interested.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not making fun of college baseball, but I mean, they although I will say this, and I sent you this link yesterday and you were busy, but minor league baseball
I saw this, actually. I wrote this down.
Minor league baseball has been enforcing the pitch clock.
It's also a really strict, really fast pitch clock.
It is, but it's taking significant time off games.
Yeah, I've got it right here, actually.
And from a TV standpoint, and if that's what we're talking about here is TV, it's something college baseball might want to think about.
Okay, so here's the setup. Again, this is in the minor leagues. So we have a few weeks of sample sizes at this point.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
The setup is this. When no one is on base, the pitcher has 14 seconds to throw.
Mm-hmm.
When the runners are on base, that inches up to 18 seconds.
Whew.
Here's my problem with that. When does it start? Because if the batter, him and Halls,
I'm assuming it starts when the pitcher
hits the rubber. But does it pause if the batter call?
Well, I don't know if you saw this.
There's some logistical issues
Did
here,
you
right?
see this in the Arkansas LSU game on?
No. Whatever you're going to say, no.
Okay. It was either the first game or the second game, and I can't remember because I watched a bunch of different games last week. But the Arkansas kid was on the rubber.
Okay.
Waiting for the LSU is slow.
Okay.
Okay. Like LSU, I've watched LSU 3 weekends now. And they will walk around and pause, and it's part of their MO. And the hitter is a left-handed kid with a Louisiana name. Wouldn't get in, and the third base umpire called him out. Said, "You're out."
How'd Jay Johnson handle that?
He was not happy. And then the next time that same kid came up, he was kind of doing the "I dare you" thing, and I thought they were going to do it again. But after that call, it did speed LSU up, and that game went from laborious to just kind of boring. College baseball games that take 4 hours, ESPN and these people are just not going to want those games. It's too big of a block. You can't plan appropriately. And contractually, if you start the game, you have to finish the game, which means if you have something else coming behind it, you got to put it on ESPN News. Hey, it's on ESPN Plus, and you can hear everybody 50 and older going, "Well, how does that work?"
Yeah, sure.
And so you're trying to. It's why people say, "Why do they show so much softball?" And we've talked about this. It's because it's 2 hours.
The pitcher fails to throw a pitch on time. He's assessed a ball. If a batter isn't ready with 9 seconds left on the pitch clock, he's assessed a strike.
Yeah. And if you have 2 strikes, you're out.
So essentially, the batter gets the first half of the 18 seconds or whatever it is, and then the pitcher gets the rest of it. It's essentially where it's at.
What they're trying to do is stop this deal where every one of these guys has their own ritual.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to do my gloves. Got no more Garcia Parra. Got to do my gloves. Got to do my helmet. I got to adjust my cup. All right, now I got to tap my right shoe. Got to tap my left shoe. And I got to step out, step back in. Now the pitcher's pissed off. He steps off. Now we do it all over again. And there's this minute of dead time.
In 132 minor league games with pitch clocks this season, there's been a 20-minute decrease in game time down to 2 hours and 39 minutes from 2:59 in minor league games last season. Now, 2:59 is still much better than
it is
whatever.
Well, minor league baseball has shorter TV timeouts than majors and college.
Yeah. College got the pitch clock, but they've been scared to enforce it. It also, there is no pitch clock with runners on base. It is only with the bases empty.
And that's when the college game just bogs down.
Yes.
And you already have pitchers, especially later in the weekends, that lots of walks.
And what's crazy is that the headsets have not quickened it up.
No.
Because you still are relaying and doing all this. like, I know people make fun of it. I actually kind of like the number system where everybody just gets to sign at once and we go.
Let's go.
Instead of.
No, look, I mean, I've watched a lot of it. The college game really bogs down with men on base. Everything gets laborious.
So if you said college went to frankly, just even putting it into play where you actually call the penalties.
Yeah.
Or speeding it up a little more.
Well, look, if you want TV to start televising you more mainstream, you're going to have to speed your game up. That's the negative. You can talk to TV people and they'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And your sport starts in February when basketball's in full swing.
Sure.
And you get to this point of the year and there's other stuff to put on, and you've got stuff. If you want to compete with that, you do have to have a tighter window. Hell, Major League Baseball knows it. They know they have a problem. That's why they're testing this in the minor leagues. But the kind of results they're getting, I mean, you can almost hear them going, hey, we need to do this.
I don't know that just a quick aside here, I don't know that I knew that, Chet. He says, Chase, what are your thoughts on the December of the season on Ole Miss baseball gets 133,000 views on YouTube, and football versus UT gets 36,000 views? What variables are in play here? I
don't know.
No idea. That's really interesting, actually. But I have one that has a longer lifespan, maybe, because you're just watching at any point versus it's a 1 week versus Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's football, and that was a huge game, so it should have more. But that's kind of fascinating. Because that's a huge difference. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
Ole Miss baseball has become a thing. We do the monster thing, which is kind of, I don't know the proper for it. A monster got created, and now the monster must be fed. But I think it's too late to put the monster on a diet. I think you have to adjust to the big monster, and so you.
And frankly, most of the league is the same damn monster. I mean, Kentucky
put
$45 million into their baseball program.
Getting more and more. It's.
But now here's a crazy number.
You and I talked about this yesterday. For a lot of these institutions, and Ole Miss is certainly one. Mississippi State's one. Starting in March, it's kind of the front door for visits and stuff. It's, hey, go check out the baseball game.
I mean, you'll hear this on Thursday or whenever we run it from Richard. He makes this point, and I didn't think about it. Since 2009, Ole Miss will have put more than $80 million in its baseball stadium.
Wow. It's a hell of an investment.
$80 million.
Yeah. That's like building a pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially.
Yeah, without a complete start over. I mean, just renovations and whatnot. Because that's back to the whole Mike thing. He does. He gets credit for the environment because he's the one that finally won after a long time of not winning. But it's also disingenuous to say Ole Miss would not have put money into that program at this point, no matter whom the coach was at that.
Right.
So it's
no, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Jay makes a good point. The SEC football coverage, they can get away with these crazy 4-hour games because people watch.
Oh, yeah.
They get the ratings back, and they're like, I know it was not the greatest product in the world, but everybody watched. I don't know that people are going to – I know you're not. You're not going to get people to sit and watch a college baseball game for 4 hours.
Yeah, sure. So, speaking of football, we'll do this quickly. Obviously, people are a little less interested in the East and the West, but got some win totals coming out. This is from the Wynn Sportsbook in Las Vegas. Exactly the same as Alabama, Georgia leading us off. They are at 11.5 wins. Do you think they lose or do you think they don't lose?
Georgia?
That is correct.
I'll go under.
To me, again.
That's easy. Yeah.
Stetson Bennett is their quarterback. People, he won a national title.
Sure. They'll be very good, but you just don't lose that type of talent off defense in 1 year and not
feel it to 1 week.
Someone's going to get you. Yeah, of course.
8.5 for the Vols, number 2 in the East.
I need a schedule.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not good enough to do this without a schedule. I'm not good enough to do this, but I'm not good enough without
a schedule. Well, I mean, the schedule does kind of matter when we're doing win-loss.
Football schedule for the Vols.
Here's a trick for you. If you go to the FB schedules link, you can just click on the other teams from that schedule.
Okay.
And that would allow you to do it all at once.
All right, I'm looking here. SEC, there we go. Tennessee, boom. Close the ad. I don't want an AKG ad. All right, Tennessee 2022. The Mighty Mighty Vols are back on Thursday, September the 1st against Ball State.
The Cardinals.
They go at Pitt, a return match on the game that Pitt won in Knoxville last year.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett's gone. That's 2-0. No, their quarterback is Slovis. Pitt actually did have some talent around that thing. But
the Akron Zips in Week 3. Florida in Week 4, September 24th. They get
an off date.
An early off date. I wouldn't want to play it that early. At LSU, October 8th. Alabama, October 15th. UT Martin on October 22nd. Kentucky at home on October 29th. At Georgia. Missouri at home. At South Carolina. And they finish up Saturday, November the 26th in sold-out Vanderbilt Stadium. 8.5, you said?
8.5.
Ooh.
And you're already getting them at 2 because they're not beating Bama or Georgia.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I like the over.
I like the over.
The only one that even gave me pause was at South Carolina.
And he gave me pause too.
Yeah.
Do you think they're 9-3?
Yeah, that's a schedule.
Think they beat Kentucky? You think they win in Tiger Stadium? Think they beat
I had them
Florida?
losing. I had them losing at LSU, losing to Alabama, losing to Georgia.
Okay. But point being, that's under if they just lose one more. I mean, the Carolina, the Kentucky. I mean,
yeah.
One egg and that's over.
Yeah, probably go over.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna give them 6 gimmies, and then you've got 3 games that are interesting, and then probably 3 losses.
Okay.
Probably over, but I'll tell you. Actually, under 8-4.
All right.
Yeah, under 8-4. Kentucky, 8 wins.
Okay. I'll pull up the Cats here. All right. They open at home against Miami of Ohio. Get at Florida in Week 2. That's interesting. Youngstown State in Week 3.
You could have given me 100 guesses, and I could not have told you they were the Penguins.
I think I could have. It's too late now because I'm staring at it, but I think I could have.
Okay.
Northern Illinois at home, so that's their September. They open October here in Oxford against Ole Miss. Then they go to back home to Lexington and play South Carolina and Mississippi State on consecutive weeks. I love the placement of their open date. October 22nd is kind of perfect. They go at Tennessee, at Mizzou out of the open date, Vanderbilt at home, Georgia at home, Louisville at home to finish the season. What did you say my number was?
8.
All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I think are W's. I think Florida's a toss. I think Ole Miss is a toss. I think they lose at Tennessee. I think at Mizzou is a toss. They lose to Georgia. 7? I kind of like the over.
You like them over 8?
I like the push at 8. I can get them to 8 in a hurry. I mean, here's 8.
Because there's very few just absolutely not. There's only one. Absolutely not.
Yeah, they're not beating Georgia.
And I think they're losing in Knoxville. But
agreed. But if you told me they won at Florida or at Ole Miss, I don't think they win them both. But if you told me they won one of those 2 games, I'm not just stunned.
Yeah, sure.
Now, he has not. His teams on the road against SEC West teams have been bad. At home against SEC West teams, they've done okay. On the road, they've not fared well. Vegas is good. Who we got next?
Next we've got Florida, but just pull it up. We'll come back in a second. We'll get to that in about 2 minutes or so. First, I'll tell you about Northeast Spark NESPARC. 2 packages: the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford Studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service available. Parental controls, network security, a wireless mesh extender, and much more. So you can call the office for details. Best internet in Lafayette County. Again, that's nespark.com.
We are also brought to you by Pinnacle. We'll have a Mind on My Money tomorrow. It's brought to you by the people at Pinnacle, mypinwealth.com. Check out their Pinnacle Advisory Services team. Get in touch with them, and they'll conduct a complimentary, no obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Just get in touch with John. People planning summer trips and stuff now. You can get in touch with John, tell him kind of what you're thinking about. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget. Really emphasize the budget part. Really helps him give you even better bang for your buck. He'll come up with as detailed or as simple a plan as you're looking for. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. If you're coming in this weekend, try Opa. It's Oxford's newest restaurant on the square. Gyros, wraps, kebabs, redfish, lamb chops, handcrafted cocktails, frozen libations, and more. An amazing candlelit patio. All of that at 306 South Lamar, just south of the Square Courthouse in Oxford. Brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. I've got a mailbag up this morning. I think it's one of my more honest answered mailbags. A lot of stuff about baseball, football stuff. It's all there. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. You can reach her at 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. Told you the other day about if you're looking for a job, but what if you are looking for that hard-to-find quality talent? Service Specialists can help you there too. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You have nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138 or check out their new and improved website, servicespecialistltd.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Double-decker, just a few days away. So head to the website. Again, visit oxfordms.com. See the full schedule of events over the course of the weekend between the vendors, the music lineups, what food options are available, safety precautions, and much more. So let it be your resource as you come into town this weekend for Double-Decker, the Grove Bowl, and we say Mississippi State, Ole Miss, baseball, and more. So again, that's visit oxfordms.com. So
Gators.
Next up is the Gators.
Billy Napier's Gators open
7 wins.
7 wins. They open at home against Utah. They get Kentucky.
Real quick before you do this,
yeah.
On Georgia earlier, the rest of them are pretty much just neutral. Well, Vanderbilt's not. I'll get to that in a second. But on Georgia, you get 2-1 odds if you bet the over. So if you go to 12, you get plus 200 on that.
Okay.
So just a little value there in case you did think the Bulldogs might go undefeated. The under is minus 250. You had to give up 2-1 to bet the under on Georgia.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Utah at home, Kentucky at home, USF at home. So they open 3 in a row. They're in the Swamp. They go to Tennessee September the 24th. Come back home for 3 straight games in Gainesville. So 6 of their first 7 games in Gainesville. They get Eastern Washington, Missouri, and LSU. An open date on October the 22nd. Then I'm sure the CBS game, October the 29th, Florida and Georgia in Jacksonville. Saturday, November the 5th, the Gators go to Texas A&M. Then they come home and play South Carolina, go to Vanderbilt, and then to Florida State to finish the season in Billy Napier's first year. What was my number again?
7.
All right, I got them. I mean, they could lose to Utah.
Oh, I mean, I expect them to lose to Utah, honestly.
Okay, if that's the case. I think they lose at Tennessee. I think they lose to LSU. I think they lose to Georgia. I think they lose to Texas A&M.
And then if you said they lost to Kentucky or South Carolina.
Or Florida State.
But you got to get them to 6-6 to go under.
Okay, well, let me do that.
Yeah.
They beat Kentucky, USF, Eastern Washington, that's 3. Missouri is 4.
Vandy's 5.
South Carolina's 5, and Vandy's 6. I can get them there.
And doesn't take.
I mean,
you just gave them Kentucky.
I'm giving them a good win.
And now look, they could beat Utah. I mean, it could get
sure, but it's first year. They're playing teams that have established systems.
I think under is the play because you get to push at 7,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, Whittingham's been there a long time. Stoops has been there a long time. You get stability.
I kind of
Like, I know everybody loves the uniform. They weren't particularly good last year.
I like that. I couldn't bet the over. I would not like that over at all.
No.
That doesn't make much sense to me. South Carolina is up next. The Gamecocks.
Oh, it's South Carolina? Okay, let's
Yeah.
see. I got them. Here we go.
6 wins for the Gamecocks.
All right.
I thought over when we were just doing it the other day.
Okay, let's go through it.
Okay.
Georgia State at home. Open SEC play a week later at Arkansas.
Yep.
Georgia at home.
Yeah, so they're probably 1-2 is the issue here.
That's an issue. Charlotte at home. South Carolina State at home.
3-2.
At Kentucky. Open date. Texas A&M at home.
Yeah, I'm kind of that schedule sucks.
Missouri at home. At Vanderbilt. At Florida. Tennessee
and
at home, and at Clemson. What was my number? 6?
6.
Give me the under.
Okay. 3. They've got 5 guarantees if you want to even think they're a good team.
Georgia State, Charlotte, SC State,
Missouri
and Vandy.
They're at 5.
And I'm not ready to go Missouri's a guarantee. That's the thing. I'm not. There's no evidence to support that.
So really this comes down to, do you think that do they win 1 or 2 games in a Arkansas, Kentucky, Florida trio?
Exactly. Those are the 3 road games. Can they win 2 of them? I say no. I'm not convinced they win 1 of them.
Yeah, they're a better team, but that is a sucky schedule.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas is ahead of South Carolina. Kentucky is ahead of South
Carolina. Yeah, you can do the hot take that they could knock off Clemson in the finale.
That's really hot.
Clemson was.
Yeah, but
I know they went 9-3 or whatever last year.
Clemson skull drugged them last year in Columbia. Just beat them up and down the field. It was silly.
I know. Just saying, if you want to throw a hot take on Carolina, it's that they beat Clemson in the year.
Okay.
And break that streak. Neal's not buying it.
No, I mean I want to buy it because I like him a bunch.
He's doing a good job.
Shane Beamer, I like Shane, and the whole Spencer Rattler thing would be a fun story in the SEC. But this is the same Spencer Rattler that couldn't keep the job at Oklahoma. He's going to go to South Carolina and light the world on fire? He didn't light Oklahoma on fire playing with talent all around him.
Ooh, Grind says they're going to beat A&M.
Okay. I think people's hearts are talking.
I mean, look, I would love them to beat A&M.
Oh,
it would be fantastic.
I mean, fewer things would make me happier that day. I mean, if you told me, hey, Neal, Texas A&M's losing October 22nd at South Carolina, I'm like, dude, let's make sure that is on the screen.
That Week 2 game in Fayetteville is such a big game.
It is. It is.
I feel like Arkansas wins it, but that is.
I don't know that South Carolina is going to be ready in Week 2 to match what will be a pretty physical Arkansas team.
Yeah. A much more established. Crazy we're saying that about Arkansas at this point, but we are.
Yeah, but they are. Team. They're established. All the coordinators have been there. They kind of know what they're doing. They've got a veteran quarterback. He's not a world beater, but he's you know what he is. And they've got look. I know Ole Miss doesn't like this, but those 2 teams, when you're watching those 2 teams on September the 10th, as much as you want them to suck, you kind of don't want them to suck because they went heavy in the portal like you did. They're gambling that the whole chemistry thing is overrated. Because if there were 2 teams outside of Ole Miss and the SEC that went portal heavy with volume, it's those 2.
Well, and Ole Miss is kind of counting on volume from a portal standpoint. Is in if you just take the players who left and replace them with the new portal additions, it's a lot of not as good or negatives potentially. It's that the totality of your portal class can make up for it in multiple ways. I mean,
sure.
You can't just go down the thing and go, well, he's out, he's in, he's out, he's in. You go, oh, well, that was good.
Lane referenced it yesterday. Again.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of high school guys that are contributing. I think outside of Igmanison, there's not many at all. By the way, I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be all right.
Well, I kept going, who's number 20? Who's number 20? Who's number 20? And I finally looked at him like, oh, that's who number 20 is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's one person, and it's my eyes, so that doesn't count for much.
He freaked a lot of people out when he put all those recruiting graphics out within like 20 minutes
He did do
of the show
that.
that day.
He did do that.
I was kind of proud of him.
Who else we got?
The Missouri Tigers.
Oh.
They're up next.
Fighting Eli's.
Woo, boy.
All right. What's their number?
5.
5, okay. They open with Louisiana Tech at home, at Kansas State. They get Abilene Christian. You know the mascot? You probably do now because you're staring at it.
Yeah.
The Wildcats.
The answer was no, though. I didn't know.
I would not have known that either. Abilene Christian on September the 17th, and then it gets real. And I mean,
God, 3 weeks in a row.
It's really real. At Auburn, September the 24th. Georgia at home, October 1st. At Florida, October the 8th. A much-needed, I suspect, weekend off on October the 15th. Then they finish with kind of a gauntlet of sorts. It's kind of interesting here. Vanderbilt at home, at South Carolina, Kentucky at home, at Tennessee, New Mexico State at home, Arkansas at home on Friday, November the 25th, in that CBS game. What was my number 5?
Your number was 5.
I'm going to have a hard time getting them over 5. Louisiana Tech, I'm giving them wins here. Louisiana Tech, Abilene Christian, Vanderbilt, New Mexico State. That's the only ones I'm comfortable giving them. And then games they could win, I guess. They could win at South Carolina, and I guess they could beat Arkansas at home. I don't feel good about that. 5 or under is a better play than 5 or over.
Look, Missouri's going to win the game, but I'm just playing with something you said last week. What odds would I have to give you for Vanderbilt beating Missouri?
Where's the game?
It's in Columbia. But, I mean, does that really – I mean, in a lot of ways, it's easier to play in Columbia than Nashville because you have nobody there.
Well, the last time Vanderbilt went there, they won the game. Remember the girl kicker made the kick at the end? And it was
Shut up. But what odds would I have to give you?
Pretty big.
5-1, 10-1, 50-1?
10-1, I'd take it.
You take it 10-1?
Sure.
Put a hundy spot on a 10-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'd probably do it feeling like I just burned $100, but
Sure.
yeah. Those are good odds.
But if I said Vanderbilt won a conference game, is that who you would pick?
I'd have to look at their schedule in a minute, but that would be one of the candidates because there aren't many candidates. But I'm not sold on Mizzou. I mean,
that's a manageable, sneaky schedule, though.
Here's the thing. I sat in Funky's on the Friday after Thanksgiving last year with my girls and watched Arkansas, Missouri.
Yep.
And Missouri had the running back who was really good.
Yeah.
And if you'd taken that cat off the field and he's out off the field now, that is a 40-some-odd point loss.
One dude kept him in.
And so you're either going, hey, Arkansas is really awesome, or, and this is the more likely, or, he's not getting it done there. Now, they've brought in some talent, but everybody brings in talent.
The games that
they've brought talent in thing, I'm like, yeah, everyone's bringing in talent, guys. I mean, if you're not bringing in talent, you're Vanderbilt.
Bigger, faster, stronger, yeah.
Yeah.
There are games that they can win, but those same games are either on the road or it's games that opponents are circling like crazy.
Well, look, they're not beating Kansas State. If they go to Auburn and win, Auburn's firing people. They're not winning that game. They're not beating Georgia. They're not going to Florida and winning. They're probably not going to South Carolina and winning.
Maybe not beating Kentucky.
I don't think they're beating Kentucky. They're not winning at Tennessee. They'll have their hands.
Oh, well, you just put together a catastrophe.
I just put together real.
Eli on the hot seat.
Well, yeah.
Darth Vader's sword is not going to help him.
No. Didn't help Dan Mullen. I mean, gimmicks don't get it done. Players get it done.
They do.
And they don't have enough.
The Jimmys and the Joes.
Yeah. I mean, they could lose. They could win a couple of those games. They could lose some of those games, too. Hell, they could lose all those games.
And then wrapping us up.
We haven't done Georgia yet, have we?
Yeah, 11.5, remember?
Yeah, but did we do their schedule?
They don't play Alabama. What do you need?
Okay. Who does Georgia even play? They play Oregon. Samford, South Carolina, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Georgia Tech. Jeez. Can I go back and have the over?
I mean, if you beat Oregon, and they're going to beat Oregon.
Who's getting them?
Well, that's what I said.
Auburn's
better play at plus 200 is 12-0.
Auburn's at home. Florida's on a neutral site. Tennessee's at home. They got to go to Mississippi State, but come on. Got to go to Kentucky. That's the next hardest game. Jeez, give me the over.
You get plus 200 on the over.
We might need to make a trip while I'm
$200
putting my hundy on Vanderbilt to beat Missouri.
Try to get it back with the Georgia deal.
Might put 2 hundy on that.
So Vanderbilt, I mean, I feel bad for Clark Lee at this point. They're
took the
over
job.
under.
Nobody put a gun to his head and said you have to take this job.
I know. Their over under is 1.5.
All right. They open at Hawaii.
If you want to take the over, you get minus 170.
Okay. They open at Hawaii. They get Elon at home. There's your one.
I knew they were the Phoenix.
For some reason, I did too. Wake Forest at home.
You sure that's the one? They got popped by East Tennessee State last year.
That's a good point.
Go ahead.
At Northern Illinois. Why? Why are you going to Northern Illinois? Why? Who are you?
Are they getting money?
Well, see, here's the thing.
You don't need the money. What
do
you spend the money on anyway? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, where the F is the guy in?
I mean, Vanderbilt might be like a Breaking Bad empire where somebody's just pocketing millions of dollars because nobody knows what the hell they're spending it on.
Somebody's had to sit in that room on schedule day and go, why? We have 4 spots on our schedule where we can control possibly winning a game. Why are we going to go to DeKalb? What do we have to? If we're going to go there, let's just go to Illinois.
Yeah.
Let's go to Purdue and play the uniform game and lose. All right, so Northern Illinois, then they get to come
to
Tuscaloosa. They get a week off. They'll need it. They get Ole Miss at home, at Georgia, at Mizzou. Another open date. How'd they do that? Oh, because they have the Hawaii game. Another open date, and then they have a November of South Carolina at home, at Kentucky, Florida at home, Tennessee at home, and then to Vanderbilt's everlasting credit, they put the SEC championship game on their schedule.
No, they didn't. FB schedules did.
I don't care. If I'm Vanderbilt, I'm like, hey, we don't want to do that.
To get to over, you've got to beat Elon.
Of course, Ole Miss just compared an NAI kid to Dennis Rodman, so it's just media relations.
He said he was the best since Dennis Rodman. That doesn't mean he's equal to Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
His stats were very similar to Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to beat Elon and then Hawaii or Northern Illinois.
Oscar Tshiebwe. God almighty. Who writes that? I'm sorry.
I mean, Hawaii sucks, but
1.5?
Yeah.
I like the over.
That they're going to get somebody.
Well, I get Hawaii, Elon, NIU.
And then a bunch of just...
And then...
But who's even a maybe?
Well, I need 2 of those 3,
yes.
and I get the over. I like the over.
And your next winnable game is at Missouri.
Yeah. But I like the over there. I'm feeling frisky with the doors. What's my number on the over? Is there a betting line on that?
Yeah. If you want the over, you got to give up 170 if you bet the over.
Yeah, so Vegas thinks they're getting over.
The under is plus 150. Gives you 1.5 on a.
Vegas didn't rule it out, the under.
We'll take some of those bets too. Sure. Yeah,
I mean, I kind of have this thing that I think they're going to win a league game, and that's going to put them over. They're going to Mizzou.
They're going to win a league game.
South Carolina. They should have beaten Carolina last year. One or the other. Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
They're worse than usual.
I get it. I understand.
Why are you not playing UConn?
I mean, if I were them, I'd schedule a home at home. I mean, why are you not playing New Mexico State?
Yeah.
Why are you going to NIU? I mean, is that a favor to somebody?
It shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
Almost went to Arkansas State with Eli.
That was stupid.
Went to Wyoming.
Further stupid. Just stupid.
I think it was further stupid?
Every bit as stupid.
Okay.
You're an SEC school if you go on the road to play somebody at Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. You go to Tulane because you're giving your fans a trip.
Yeah, sure.
You might even could go to SMU and give your fans a trip.
That's fair. Yeah.
After that, man, it's got to be a Power 5
It's got to be a neutral site or a Power 5 after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you told Ole Miss fans, hey, we're going to go play a Big Ten game on the road.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Sign me up. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go to Wisconsin.
Yeah. They're going to play USC. Yeah, sure.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, it's fun. And even if you don't go, you're watching because that's interesting, right? I mean, it's sexy.
That's a good point. Tulane and SMU are probably the two small schools where you get away with it.
Yeah, because you're giving your fans a trip to
Dallas or New Orleans.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, and they've done those.
Yeah. And they were successful. Yeah. I mean, going to Tulane makes all the sense in the world for Ole Miss.
The year you don't play LSU, go to Tulane.
Yeah, Ole Miss people have proven over and over and over they'll go to New Orleans.
Every time you do it.
Yeah, so
they don't get tired of it.
No, they like it. It's fun. Sure, so go.
Yeah. Podcast
and take Memphis off the schedule forever. Don't ever do it again.
Yeah, quit propping them up.
Yeah, and when they go, well, what about basketball? I go, no, we're good.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
PrimeShrimp.com. Get $20 off your first order with code MPW. Try the garlic herb butter, their newest flavoring, and their most versatile offering yet. You put it over pasta, rice, veggies, throw up some shrimp scampi, surf and turf. Other options there as well. You can have a full meal option with the French Quarter Alfredo, or their simple seasonings, the signature kind of a garlic flavor, or the Louisiana shrimp bowl, a little spicier option for those who would like that. 10 minutes, freezer to plate with Prime Shrimp. That's PrimeShrimp.com, delivered straight to your door. Money back guarantee, and $20 off your first order with code MPW.
Cole says, what are your thoughts on going to Charlotte?
That doesn't do as much for me.
It doesn't do much for me. It's better than Memphis, but it's not a game I would have scheduled, honestly. Mm-hmm. Unless you're trying to really recruit that area.
And you're not.
And
there's no reason to.
I mean, academically recruiting even, no, I'm probably not doing that. Going to Purdue, yeah, Purdue's great. Go play a Big Ten school on the road.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. TV likes it. We're brought to you by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylish hand-select pieces from top designers, work to lifestyle to nightlife. They've got the perfect something for everyone. At The Rogue, all the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. Don't just accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward and chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So go call them today, and they'll conduct a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment, financing available at corinthdental.com. And brought to you by Bell & Grove, based out of Chattanooga. Bell & Grove is a logistics provider, more than 35 years of transportation industry experience. Bell & Grove specializes in domestic freight movement throughout the continental U.S. They can navigate through supply chain issues while also leaning on their partner carriers to get the most competitive rate possible for their customers. They can help customers design a custom solution for their shipping needs. Whether your business is in need of moving a truckload, a partial shipment, or a flatbed, Bell & Grove can accommodate you. They also provide both air and ground expedited services for customers who need to move product quickly. For more information, call 865-672-6557. And don't forget Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. They've got all sorts of camps coming up. You can host parties out there. Lots of stuff going on at Southern Traditions. Learn more by getting in touch with Bowers Cone, bowerscone1@gmail.com, or get in touch with Susan Walt, or message them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm.
Podcast brought to you by Johnston Hill Creamery. You can find them on Instagram at Johnston Hill Creamery or johnstonhillcreamery.com, and check out their new lunch menu. It is available for you now. They also do Fetch delivery, so you can order online there with Fetch. Get your lunch from Johnston Hill Creamery delivered straight to your door. They open 10 to 4 most days, right there off Molly Bar in Oxford, again on White Oak Lane. They make all their cheeses local and in-house. They host cheese parties and much more. So take advantage of all those different items. Go to the website, see everything they can do for you. Again, that's johnstonhillcreamery.com, 662-419-9201. Matt Corral meeting with the Saints this week. Some movement, some rumors, some different things.
Yeah.
I think it's more indicative of nobody has any idea what the Saints are doing right now. They know they need a quarterback, and there is lots of things being thrown against walls to see if you get lucky and your thing sticks.
Do you want to see the Saints trade up for him, or do you want to see if he falls to what are they 16 and 19?
Yeah.
If he falls to one of those spots, you grab him.
Yeah, I don't think I'm trading up. I don't like trading up. Period.
I
don't have enough confidence in any of them to trade up and mortgage my roster for it.
It does not appear, and we could end up next Thursday laughing, being dead wrong, as quarterbacks go, 4 of them go in the top 10.
Because there are some quarterback freakouts sometimes in drafts.
Sure, but it does not appear that anybody is just completely sold on any of these guys.
Well, they're not. I mean, you're picking them apart, but it's even beyond that. Nobody says, hey, this is the automatic thing that is automatically going to be whatever, and this is my guy, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl, and this is Joe Burrow. You're not hearing that. I mean, it's why there's so much volatility even beyond trying to do mock drafts for clicks, is that nobody really knows. I mean, there's some teams that really like Kenny Pickett. There's some teams that like Malik Willis. Do we take the huge upside, or we just try to find the consistent dude that's probably all right? Where they are right now.
By the way, it's confirmed here via text. It's probably out somewhere else too. Jarkel Joyner has transferred to NC State.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm asking about Luis as well.
Okay.
I just got that answer. Luis Rodriguez going back and forth with family. Some want him at UNLV. Some want him at NC State.
Okay. So there's that.
I got asked in the mailbag. It's a fair question, and I'm giving an honest answer about what's going on with basketball. I don't know. Frankly, I don't know that anybody knows. It's very hard to get information. They're struggling in the portal. As of this moment, to my knowledge, they have one spot available, and I would assume they'll try to fix that. I'm sure they'll try to use that spot.
Probably looking in some coach-player connections. Everybody knows they have 1 year. I mean. Look, it's going to take something like that because, I mean, I don't know this, but I would feel pretty certain Keith's not handing out a bunch of multi-year contracts to assistant coaches for basketball right now. So,
no, he's not.
I mean, your ability to attract and pull in is complicated and is going to require some creativity, or just a cap on what you're able to get in that department. Frankly, if we're just being honest. I want to talk about Jerry West a little tomorrow, what he's doing with this Showtime series.
You know, it's funny. I've been watching that show. It's a really good show, but I've watched it and I've thought, man, they are making him out to be.
Yeah, he is threatening to sue right now. Interesting deal. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Even if you're not in the NBA, it's just fascinating from a TV standpoint for that. Is it HBO?
Yes, on HBO. HBO. Speaking of NBA, yesterday, if you don't love Ja Morant yet, I don't really know what you're waiting on. I mean, I want to dislike the Grizzlies because of the Thunder and stuff, but I can't. I like their team. Ja Morant, they lose in game 1, and the Wolves talked a lot. And he puts out that Michael Jordan 40-something seconds where Jordan is playing with his baseball bat.
Yeah.
And he goes, what, we lost 1 game. You know, it's easy to talk trash when you're winning. Talk trash when it's even score, 0-0. Talk trash when you're behind. You know, and just kind of like, we're going to get them, and then Ja comes out, and Grizzlies just absolutely spanked the Timberwolves last night.
He was a board shy of a triple-double last night.
Yeah, he was terrific. They're fun. They're a good team, and listen, I don't know what the deal is, and I don't wish injuries on anyone, and I like Devin Booker a lot, so I'm hoping that he's okay, but you hear the word hamstring for a guard, and you go, oh, God. If Devin Booker's out,
it opens that up.
It at a minimum opens up the West. It might lead to problems. They have to go to New Orleans now, and win 1 in New Orleans to kind of get the thing back to their place, feeling good about it.
Is it 2-2-1-1-1?
Yeah, 2-2-1-1-1. So they got to go to New Orleans and get a game, and then they're probably okay. But the West is wide open. If Memphis can get past Minnesota,
I'd say Memphis is the biggest contributor to that injury.
Yeah,
in Golden State.
Yeah, I'm I'm looking forward to a Grizzlies Warriors series. I think it would just be fantastic theater. I've hoping it gets to that place because my schedule frees up a little bit and maybe I can go.
Oh, okay.
If you've never been to an NBA playoff game,
sure.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Especially in markets like Memphis and Oklahoma City and places.
I've been to
like
one.
that.
It actually was Grizzlies Warriors years ago.
It's just a fantastic
that was
environment.
the one
It's
I've
just
been to.
it's electric the whole time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's you got all that stuff going on. There's a lot happening in the NBA right now. It's pretty fun. There's some that Dallas got a game without Luka, and now Luka's going to come back, and that buys them maybe waiting for Game 4 for him. Trying to think the other. Philly looks really good. There's
and you get Game 2.
we get Game 2
Celtics
of,
Nets.
Yeah, Celtics Nets tonight. Where you got to think that this is the night that Kevin Durant goes, just give me the ball.
Celtics up 1-0, and they are a 3.5-point favorite in that one. If you'd like to gamble on it, so. All right, stuff at rebelgrove.com. Have more for you, and then we'll be back with you in the morning for those topics and whatever else comes up before then. So, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, 6 o'clock on Thursday, starting that series. So, have a good day. Stay safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.